The Impact segment tonight on the controversy at NBC News, this one courtesy of Al Sharpton. You may remember back in March 2012, while covering the Trayvon Martin case, the Today Show ran an audio tape of George Zimmerman's 911 call.
This guy looks like he's up to no good. He looks black.
Well, that tape was doctored to make it look like Zimmerman was a racist. Here's what Zimmerman actually said to the 911 operator.
This guy looks like he's up to no good, or he's on drugs or something. It's raining and he's just walking around looking about.
Okay, and this guy, is he white, black, or Hispanic?
He looks black.
Now, after that blatant dishonesty was exposed, NBC News fired 3 people, the right thing to do. Fast forward to last August 13th, when Al Sharpton accused me of attacking poor Americans.
Bill O'Reilly has gone back to one of his favorite talking points, attacking the poor. Here's his latest rant about people on food stamps.
The Obama administration is encouraging parasites to come out and, take as much as they can with no remorse. And this is how a country declines. This is how we become a weak nation.
Parasites. The poor are parasites. We've heard these kinds of attacks before. Welfare queen, the 47%, makers versus takers.
But what Sharpton did not tell his audience is that he and his editors doctored that clip by cutting out the context. My comments were specifically aimed at just one person, a guy named Jason Greenslade, who Fox News exposed as gaming the food stamp system. Here's the full context of what I said. Factor investigation segment tonight, the food stamp scandal. Right now, 15% of the entire American population receiving food subsidies. In the year 2000, just 6% were getting those. And some of those people are conning the system. Last week, Fox News ran a 1-hour special on the food stamp situation. As part of that, John Roberts tracked down a surfer in California who is eating on the taxpayer's dime.
The food stamp program was designed to be for a point in your life where you were, down, things weren't going well. It's not, quote, a point in your life. It's kind of, this is life for me.
Yeah, this is how I live, man. Cute chicks, doing my thing, This is the way I want to live, and I don't really see anything changing. I don't got a paycheck coming in, so I qualify.
This guy is a parasite. And my contention is that the Obama administration is encouraging parasites to come out and, take as much as they can with no remorse. And this is how a country declines. This is how we become a weak nation. So Sharpton made it seem like I was talking about all of the poor in America, not just one guy. We brought that to NBC's attention. They did nothing. Nothing at all. Now we have a new deceit centering on the late Nelson Mandela. Here's what Sharpton and a woman named Karen Finney said on Friday night.
So in terms of history, when they call, you've got Bill O'Reilly calling him he's saying he was a communist.
Yeah, last night, let me show that. He said about Nelson Mandela last night on Fox.
95 years old. Yeah. Nelson Mandela, I've spent some time in South Africa. He was a communist, this man.
Yeah.
He was a communist, all right? But once again, Sharpton dishonestly edited the tape, cutting off all the context. Here's the complete point. Here's the problem. There is common ground among Republicans. I'm an independent, but I know both parties pretty well. However, the media Republicans, very conservative talk radio people, are very ideological, and they're just ripping up people like John McCain, rhinos, every day, banging, just killing them. And that filters into the folks and the people who vote Republican. And let me give you an example. Ideology has to really leave the building next year and in 2016, or you're going to have President Hillary Clinton. Nelson Mandela just died. I don't know whether you're aware, but 95 years old. Nelson Mandela, I've spent some time in South Africa. He was a communist, this man.
Yeah.
He was a communist, all right? But he was a great man. What he did for his people was stunning. The sacrifices that he made. He could have repudiated and got out of that prison. He wouldn't do it. He was a great man, but he was a communist. So, but I would never attack Nelson Mandela. I mean, I told Bishop Tutu I disagree with you and with Mr. Mandela because Tutu's that way as well, but I respect you. So why can't you guys in the Republican Party bring that to the fore? So now we once again ask NBC News, what are you going to do about Sharpton, who is obviously a dishonest person? I mean, it's insane what this guy is doing on NBC's air. So far, NBC News has not answered the question. And there is no question. They have their hands full. MSNBC commentator Martin Bashir forced to resign last week, and personal attacks lodged by that far-left network are causing controversy all over the place. NBC News has a long history of distinguished reporting, but now it's employing people who are bringing disgrace to the operation. They should do something. Directly ahead, Bernie Goldberg and Howard Kurtz have some thoughts on this. Now, the Impact segment, Al Sharpton continuing to be dishonest on NBC's air. Joining us from Washington, host of Media Buzz on FNC, Howard Kurtz. And from Miami, the purveyor, BernardGoldberg.com, Mr. Goldberg. So, Bernie, you're the president of NBC Universal, all right? Mm-hmm. Full power over Sharpton. What do you do?
Well, I'd fire him, but I wouldn't have hired him in the first place. But that doesn't mean that the people who run NBC or Comcast, by the way, the parent company, are going to do that. Every important Democratic politician running for high office has to go to Harlem and kiss Al Sharpton's ring, okay? Every one of them. They're concerned about him. They have to pay him respect. So if powerful politicians are doing that, are we supposed to believe that Phil Griffin, the president of MSNBC, or the people who run Comcast aren't equally, I'll use the word, afraid of him? I think they are. Because who the hell knows what he's going to say the next day after he gets fired, or what he's going to do? They're not going to take that chance, I don't think.
If Sharpton were just a commentator like Bashir, you think did he do enough to be fired, Mr. Kurtz? Did he do enough to be fired? You know, putting his pressure and his color aside. Did he do enough to be fired, in your opinion?
Bill, I would fire the producer to start with, who made those kinds of editing mistakes. To call them mistakes is actually misleading. They are malicious attempts to deceive viewers when they cut you off after you called Nelson Mandela a communist, which he was briefly, and didn't let you continue the thought on tape to say he was a great man. Now, Al Sharpton has always worn two hats on MSNBC. Civil rights activist, some would say a racial ambulance chaser. He was intimately involved in the Trayvon Martin murder case and then went on MSNBC and took one side. So clearly he is treated very, very differently than most talk show hosts.
Okay, but again, if NBC is not going to do anything, Bernie, this means all standards have collapsed at that news organization, have they not?
Well, you understand that there was a former president of NBC News who said, we do news here on this side of the street, and they, over there at MSNBC, are our editorial page. I say, fine, fair enough. And then I'd say, is that the kind of editorial page you'd want? Because it shouldn't be the kind of editorial page you'd want. But let me pick on some...
Wait, let me just challenge. Hard news and commentary both come under the umbrella of journalism. They're both in the journalism realm. What we're doing right now is journalism. There are rules. There are rules. You cannot distort either the facts or the commentary. You can't do that. We have proven
That's right.
that Sharpton does this routinely. We just showed you the two most egregious things. Go ahead, Bernie.
Yeah, that's a good point, but let me take your viewers into the factory and on a tour of how sausage is made. What Howard said is absolutely correct. First of all, Sharpton is responsible for what's on his show. His name is on it. It's his show. He's responsible. No question about that.
I agree with that.
But Sharpton doesn't go into the editing room. I'm guessing he doesn't know where the editing room is at MSNBC. This is almost always done, almost always, by young, liberal, unethical producers who didn't grow up in a world of anything resembling traditional journalism. And what they're doing is what they believe the culture at MSNBC expects of them. What they are doing is what the president
so
of
then
MSNBC...
Phil Griffin should be fired then. Because if
yes,
you're right,
Howard said that the producer should be fired. I would crank that up a step. Phil Griffin is the one who sets
Okay.
the tone.
but
About
there's
he
more
should
than
be
that.
fired.
But and Howard, here's the crunch time now. The one he was on with was this woman Finney, right? Karen Finney. She wrote me a letter of apology today. All right?
Because
she
she said you'd never been in Soweto.
Right, and then I showed a picture that I was. There's the letter that she wrote me, and I accept her apology. Did Sharpton apologize? Did Sharpton apologize? Did he? No.
Finney made a mistake. It's in a very different category. I don't want to tar everybody at MSNBC with the same brush. There are hosts, there are journalists, there are producers at that network who you may not agree with.
You don't
may
have
think
to
are
tar
awful
them. What about the
ideologically.
leadership? What about the leadership, Howard?
Give me half a sentence to get to that. Who do their work honestly, even though the audience may not agree with them. But where I do hold the MSNBC leadership accountable is in setting a tone where somebody like Martin Bashir can can spew forth that kind of venom as he did against Sarah Palin. He was not punished for 3 weeks until he lost his job. The tone is set at the top. Apologies should be made when these kind of mistakes, these kinds of malicious mistakes are made, and that's where I would fault the management of that network.
Okay, well, I don't expect NBC to do anything. And I'll tell you what, they're losing credibility, Bernie. I'll give you the last word on it. They're losing credibility all over the country now. I think
Well,
they
here's the last word. I'm wondering if you consider this possibility, that they have come up with a strategy over there, and the strategy is say really nasty, unethical things about Bill O'Reilly because he's going to try to set the record straight, and we'll get more publicity on Fox than we would have ever
But it
gotten
doesn't
on
matter,
MSNBC,
you gotta have a
where
product.
only 12 people watch.
Bernie, I heard that argument a million times. You gotta have a product, okay? They have no product. That's why their ratings are terrible.
MSNBC spends hours talking about Fox. If Fox News went off the air, there'd have to be a test pattern for MSNBC
And they
for
don't
several
have
hours
any
a day.
product there. And that's why they have not succeeded in 17 years.
You're
Gentlemen,
the product over there, Bill.
well, I'm not worried about them getting any viewers. I'm just outraged that NBC News and NBC Universal, as powerful as they are, allow Sharpton and this stuff to go on. It's a disgrace, and I have to expose it.